Jai Anilo Premadano Karamakacho Jaya Amagama Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana More Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So today we are continuing to speak on the song composed by Srila Narottam Das Thakur from Prem Bhakti Chandrika, the Guru-mukha-padma-vakya that we sing every day. And as you see, we are on the second verse, so you can repeat after me. Guru-mukha-padma-vakya,
Guru-mukha-padma-vakya.
Deity Koriya Vaikya, Arna Koriya Manya, Sri Guru Charane Rati, Eshe Uttama Gati, Ye Prasade Pude Sarva Asha. Guru, the spiritual master, Mukha, mouth, Padma, lotus, Vakya, words, Chitete, in the heart, Koriya Aikya, make one with, Ara, more, not, Koriya, do, Mone, in the mind, Asa, desires, Sri Guru, the spiritual master, Charane, unto the lotus feet, Rati, attachment, I, this, say, that, Uttama Gati, the highest goal, Jai Prasade, by whose mercy, Ude, fulfills, Sarva, all, Asha, desires. Translation. Make the teachings from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master one with your heart, and do not desire anything else. Attachment to the lotus feet of the spiritual master is the best means of spiritual advancement. By his mercy, all desires for spiritual perfection are fulfilled. The commentary is by Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. So I will read it for you. The spiritual master instructs one in the loving devotional service of Sri Krishna. The instructions from the mouth of the spiritual master are very powerful. In other words, they are fully potent to enable one to achieve Lord Sri Krishna. The words of the spiritual master are in accordance with all revealed scriptures. Therefore, those who are eager to attain Sri Krishna should take the words of the spiritual master into their hearts as their life and soul. The word Vakya in this text refers to the instruction on Prema Rasa Tattva, the science of loving relationship in devotion to Krishna. The word Sakya refers to one's ability to obtain Krishna. Uttama Gati means the highest destination. Uttama Gati may also refer to the best out of all obtainable things, and that is prema seva, or service in love. Another reading of Chiteti Koriya Aika is Hriti Kori Maha Shakya. This means that whatever instructions the spiritual master gives to his disciples about their eternal constitutional relationship as that of a manjari, they should very keenly keep that within their heart. The word sarva asa indicates that one should be transcendently greedy to achieve the loving service of Sri Sri Radha Krishna, such as massaging their feet or offering them chamara in the Vrindavan Vikunja grove, decorated with jewels and pearls. With whomever the spiritual master is pleased, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna are also pleased. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasada. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one can attain the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, only by the mercy of the spiritual master is loving service to Sri Sri Radha Krishna attained. What comes to my mind, first of all, is what great fortune we all have that Krishna sent Prabhupada, and Prabhupada agreed to come to us and to deliver us this great wealth of Prema Rasa Tattva, the truth about the mellows of love. Prabhupada would often say, everyone is searching after love. But they do not know where to find it. The word tattva means truth. And this sort of truth is not used, the word is not used generally for a lesser type of truth, but it is used to indicate the highest truth. Or as the Bhagavad Gita makes clear, reality distinguished from illusion. That which is permanent. And in fact, when we think about love, we want it to last forever. And what makes it painful is that it does not do so. It becomes hampered. Of course, in loving dealings, there may be ups and downs. Is that the construction? Shiva. How come he's working so early?
He makes a mistake himself.
Isn't he hungry and wants some breakfast? If it was Sriraj, I would be able to accommodate it. You should tell him that he may be feeling hungry. So, yeah. I recall, I already have written about this, but I'll repeat it. That one time I was walking in the park in Boston with my brother Vishnu John Swami, and we saw carved into a tree, John loves Mary forever, more ever, and a heart around it. And this is, what everybody expects, that they should be able to love someone forever. Because if you really love someone, the idea of separating from them is heartbreaking. And therefore we have our hearts constantly broken, because in this world there is no such thing as permanence. This is a very painful lesson, and it practically goes against everything that we desire. And there's a reason for it, because the soul is eternal. We are not temporary. And the desire to go on living is a constitutional nature of our existence. We are eternal spirit souls. So the idea of death is foreign to us, and it's not acceptable. So tattva means that truth which lasts beyond death, which survives death. And what is that truth? The truth of the mellows of love. So this love must be something that goes beyond death. And that is what Prabhupada came and brought us. That is actually what the Guru delivers. And therefore, it is said that the relationship with Krishna and with his servants is meant to be eternal. Once we had, I wrote about this, that we were sitting with Prabhupada in the darshan, and one devotee told Prabhupada that she had a dream in which all the devotees were like up on a cloud together, doing kirtan. It was like eternal in the spiritual world. Prabhupada commented that yes, we will all be together in the spiritual world. So, this promise is made, not just by us, but every religion makes this promise, which doesn't make it any less true. Maybe it makes it more true, that we shall all be together. Now, how will we be together? Together means within a relationship. One thing that together means is it doesn't mean merging. So we're not speaking of a togetherness in which there is the extinguishing of any, individuality. We are speaking of a togetherness which it means a oneness of purpose or oneness of mood. And what is that oneness of mood that unites the persons who live together in their spiritual world? For us, it is that we are all united in one act, which is loving service to Krishna. Krishna is that person who unites us. We all have this in common, right? Every one of us has a circle of persons whom he or she favors. But there's one common person that every one of us favors, and that is Krishna. Right? Each of us has wives, husbands, friends, etc., brothers, sisters, whatever. But we all have one common person that we all agree that we love, dear most of all, and that is Krishna. Just like, even though we love our family members so much, I suspect that on account of our training, when we reach the moment of death, who will we try to keep most in our minds? Krishna. This is what we are taught. And that person who teaches us becomes as dear to us as Krishna. Krishna Presta, very dearmost of Krishna. Why is the spiritual master so dear to Krishna? Or why is the devotee, whoever is so dear to Krishna? Because he takes the order of Krishna as his life and soul. And what is that? Yadi Devi Tari Kahar Krishna Upadesh. Amar Adai Guru Hari Desh Yadi Devi Tari Kahar Krishna Upadesh. He preaches the message of Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, after all is said and done, what does Krishna finally say? Whoever explains this knowledge to my devotees is most dear to me. It is not by chance that, or it is not by, sometimes persons say that the purpose for which Prabhupada sent everyone out on Sankirtan was to raise money to fund our movement. But the real fact is that he did so because Krishna declares that whoever preaches this message is most dear. Now we have an opportunity. We have this opportunity every day of the year, but now especially we focus on the fact that it is the final month of the year. And it is a time when devotees distribute books. So looking at this audience, I don't see very many persons who are likely to go out and sell books. However, I see a lot of people who make money. I see a lot of people who are making money. So you have a choice. If you can't go out and sell books, then why don't you donate some money this month? And we'll place the books in libraries. We'll put them in high school libraries, junior high school libraries, hospitals. So many institutions will take books. If you personally feel, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter, that you can't go out and distribute books, but you prefer to work and make money, then give some money, and we will use it that way. We can draw a list of institutions and we'll donate the books. And this way, you will fulfill this instruction. You will become most dear to Krishna. He says, whoever gives this knowledge is most dear to me. So this is a good suggestion, and I will request Indra Money to hound everybody here. Not hound, but remind them of what was said on this day. That, okay, I'm not going to embarrass you and tell you to go out and sing the time with me. Just give some money from your good work. And someone else can make up a list. We'll let Nityananda figure out who has some time to draw up the list. They can look up all the institutions. And then in the coming year, we will have the very nice pleasure of being able to go around to these institutions. Or we'll mail them. We can mail the books just as well. Or present them. And who can say what children in their schools, high schools, junior high schools, will make use of them. The books will be in the library. Those books will be there. Otherwise, they're not there now. Or in hospitals, so many people have to be in the hospital room for days. I mean, oh, that's good. If someone who's inclined to be, to read the Bhagavad Gita, they'll be able to say, yes, we have a Bhagavad Gita here. Is that a good idea?
Senior citizens.
Huh? Senior citizens. Prisoners. Right. Okay, so there's so many institutions, that's the point. Good. So, now, that looking closely at this text, make the teachings from the lotus mouth of the spiritual master one with your heart. That's a very nice way of placing it. This is a beautiful verse, text, poetry, and how Narottam Thakur says this. And one with your heart. the word chiteti. It's interesting because the chitta can also mean the mind or the heart. And in the system of understanding, whether you want to call it Vedic or Indian philosophy, whatever way you want to say it, the heart and the mind are considered to be not different. I mean, in Western philosophy, the mind is said to be a function of the brain, let's say. But in Indian philosophy, it's given a different location. The word for heart and mind, at least in the terms of this word chitta, is taken to be the same. And so that's interesting, isn't it? Because everybody's always looking for the unity of mind and heart, or thoughts and feelings. And here we have a philosophical system that places them together. It says that they shouldn't be separate, and they can't be thought of as separate. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, make the words of the spiritual master one with your heart. Now the heart is the most sacred of all parts of the body. The heart is such a special place, right? Everybody protects their heart. This is, in a figurative sense, not just a physical sense. I mean, when people put on armor, they protect their head and their heart. That's the most important thing to do. So the heart, but even I think you protect your heart more than you protect your head. In the sense that you will watch television and so many things and ideas come inside, and you think about them. But what you actually allow the feelings to repose upon, what you embrace with your feelings as your own, you're very selective and particular about it. So Vishnu Chakravarti and Narottam Das Thakur here is saying, make the teachings from the lotus mount of the spiritual master one with your heart. In other words, these are what is supposed to be the prime possession of your heart. The words emanating from your spiritual master's mouth. Why? Because those words are directly coming from Krishna. We know what Krishna wants of us. We know what Krishna says because of how we listen to our spiritual master. We have that firm faith and trust that the spiritual master is a transparent via media and conveys to us what is in Krishna's heart. The heart of God comes to us through the words of our spiritual master. And therefore the words Uttama Gati, which mean the supreme destination, or the best of all obtainable things, here, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, is Prema Seva. Prema Seva. Seva, that's a very good name for someone, Prema Seva. Maybe some lucky initiative will get that. Prema Seva. So, seva means serve, to serve someone. And what kind of service? Serve with love, or the service of love. Now, love takes a special shape. You don't love someone, for example, you don't love your car, or your wife, or husband, or son, or daughter, or father or mother, or nation, or brother or sister, or pizza, all in the same way. You love them all in a very different way. Each has their own type of mood. The type of love is different. So, we have to understand, therefore, what tattva, prema rasa tattva, the truth about the mellows of love. And we know from our reading in Nectar Devotion, and by the way, there's a very nice book which Janava's Guru Maharaj has written now, called Waves of Devotion. Is it in the bookshop yet? No, maybe Janava's the distributor of this. He could. But it is a very nice book which explains the nectar of devotion in so many different ways. Makes it quite easy to understand. So, prema rasa tattva, the truths about the mellows of prema, we have to learn from Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Devotion. The relationships that we see in this world, parents, with lovers, the spouses, fraternal relationships, friendship, all of these are reflections of our potential relationships with Krishna. And particularly one of them is mentioned here by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says, the word sarva asha indicates that one should be transcendentally greedy to achieve the loving service of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. What is the highest desire? And how many desires does each one of us have? And because we may have many desires, our attention, our energy is not focused. And therefore we are not very successful as much as we would like to be. There's a reason why Gaur Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj carried this book only with him all the time. Because he understands Narottam Das Thakur and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have only one desire. They don't have any other desire. You see, we are not like them. We have many desires. If I asked you to write down a list, starting with, you can prioritize, with your desires, I guarantee you that there would be no hesitation of everybody here writing at least 100 items. And no doubt, probably at the top would be Krishna Consciousness. But I suspect that if you asked Narottam Das Thakur to make such a list, he would only put one thing. Certainly, yes, he would. He would only put one thing. And that one item is described here. What is that? What is that highest desirable? Here it is mentioned. That, I will say it in two different ways. One way to say it is that the words of Guru, the instructions of my spiritual master, are my life and soul. And what are those instructions? That Vishnu mentions here. He says, whatever instructions the spiritual master gives to his disciples about their eternal constitutional relationship as that of a manjari, they should very keenly keep that within their heart. That's what would be in this list. One item. Now, when we sit with our spiritual master, he gives us so many instructions. So how should we understand all those instructions? Are you saying that there's really only one? No, the fact is that the spiritual master has to give so many instructions because we're not ready to make this one instruction everything. Because we still have so much unfinished business in this world, the spiritual master has to give a lot of instructions. But actually there's only one instruction, finally, that has to be given, that you must learn to love Krishna. And in our line, that love for Krishna is embodied in Srimati Radharani. And so, because we understand that to serve the servant of Krishna is more pleasing to Krishna than to serve Krishna directly, we don't aspire or desire to serve Krishna. We desire to assist Srimati Radharani in her service to Krishna. And that's called Manjari Bhav, the emotion or mood of the Manjari. Who are the Manjaris? Just like, in the Tulsi plant, right? There are Tulsi Patra, the Tulsi leaves, and there are Tulsi flowers that are called Manjaris. And they're very delicate, aren't they? And the analogy is given by our acharyas that Krishna is like a honeybee, a black bee. Here's this Indranilama. Is that Indranilama? Or is that?
Devananda.
Huh?
I'm recording for Devananda.
She's listening very attentively. Close up. Because you get a lot, she gets a lot closer than anybody else. So, Krishna is like a black bumblebee. And he is flying around. And Radharani is like a golden creeper plant. And the bumblebee, Krishna, lands on this creeper of Radha. And Radha's friends, the gopis, are like so many leaves on this plant. And her assistants, who are different than her friends, they're like the manjaris, the flowers. So when a bee lands on a delicate plant, the whole plant shivers or trembles, right? Because of the weight. Some bees, here you don't see large bees, but I have seen in India that bumblebees are quite large. They're like this big. They're at least, they can be as up to, 2 inches. They're that big. And they hover just like a helicopter. I mean, they really they can buzz and they're just, and when they land, their weight literally can move the plant, the tender plant. So when the bumblebee, Krishna, lands on the plant, all the leaves tremble, and the flower trembles also. So the flower is called a manjari. We understand that the maid servant of Radharani, her assistants, who are not exactly like her friends, like Lalita and Vishaka and the other gopi friends, they're friends. But the manjaris are personal attendants or maid servants. And their mood is to assist Radharani. And everything that Radha experiences, they experience through her. And so if you think about this just in an objective way, you will realize that since Radha is she who pleases Krishna the most, and she is the, Mahabhav Swarup, she is the form of the highest emotional experiences. You can't possibly experience directly anything, even in your most perfect way, as Radharani can, because she is Krishna's own Shakti. She's his Lahadini Shakti. She is his pleasure potency. So, if you are searching for love and happiness and joy, if somehow you can connect to Srimati Radhika, then your pleasure will be far, far, far superior to anything that you could directly experience trying to be a servant of Krishna. I'm saying this in an objective way because the problem with this explanation is it sounds very fruitive. And a manjari doesn't have this fruitive nature. Somebody who is a manjari that hasn't sat down in the Bhagavatam class and figured out that this is the best way to get more satisfaction. That's not how someone who is in the mood of a servant thinks. That's far too fruitive. But I still said from an objective point of view, if one were arguing why is the position of a manjari the best, then we can explain it that way. But as far as what the mood of the manjari is, she doesn't think like that. She simply thinks that I simply want to, Radharani is all attractive and wonderful, and I want to offer service. I want to learn to love her and be her maidservant. And this opportunity is not just open to ladies, because we understand that the rishis who were present during the time of Lord Ram, they had such a desire. And they had their desire fulfilled by the grace of Ram to take their birth in the wombs of gopis and become gopis of Vrindavan. So, in other words, this has nothing to do with your present body. We're not talking about whether you have a lady's body or a man's body, because we're talking about a spiritual body. And the instruction coming from the spiritual master, which is meant to teach us, as mentioned here, Radha Krishna Seva, such as massaging their feet. Now you should understand the fortune of a pujari. Now, if you get this picture, as we have been describing it, you should think that here's Radha Krishna, and you could be massaging their feet, because one of the things you do in serving the deities is you hold their feet and you can give them a little massage. If you're a pujari and you're not doing it, you're a fool, because you could. Nobody's going to stop you. Krishna's not going to kick you away. And if he does, you're still fortunate. You got kicked by the lotus feet of Krishna. Massaging their feet or offering them a chamra, waving a chamra. In a Vrindavan Nikunja grove. Isn't it? A Vrindavan Nikunja grove. Decorated with jewels and pearls. They are. They're just carved in wood. You have to have some eyes to see. But that's what all the ornaments are. Now, here's your opportunity. So many of you all live here in Radhakal Chanchitam. I suspect that of the 50 odd persons sitting in this room, most of them are odd. Because even though they live here, they don't do deity worship. That's amazing. It is amazing to me that anyone living in Kalachandridan doesn't at least once in a week get on the altar and get an opportunity to touch the feet of the deities and wave the chanda. First, and bank some money. Why do you bank money? For savings. Why do you have a savings account? Nobody here just has. You usually have a checking account and a savings account, right? At least that's in the old days. That's how you do it. The checking account is where you write your checks from to meet daily and monthly expenses. And your savings account is, you're saving up for something important. So if you do a little bit of deity worship, this is, you're beginning to put emphasis on what should eventually become your only interest. You have to do this. You're a fool not to do this. You're a fool not to do this. Just see, you're being called a fool. And if you can't respond to being called a fool, and being given such encouraging words, apart from being called a fool, then I have to say as a physician that you may be suffering from a hardened heart. Just like some people have hardening of the arteries, varicose veins. This may be, a hardening. It may even be even more serious. If your veins get hardened in your legs, that's not a very good thing. But if your heart gets hardened, you're in trouble, big trouble. If these words have not penetrated your heart, then it means your heart was so hardened that you could not take the words of your Guru and make them one with your heart. Sometimes people wonder why those who are dependent on them don't listen to them. Parents have this experience that when their children get older, they don't listen to the parents. Well, what do you think the Guru experiences? And if you think you've got troubles having a, 15, 18, 22, 24-year-old child, what do you think it's like having a 45-year-old child? If you think that your children don't listen to you when they're 15, 18, or 20, you think about what it gets like when they get older than that. And then you wonder, I suspect that if the 45-year-old children would listen to their parents, there's a greater chance that the 20-year-old children might listen to theirs. By example, you'd be showing. And maybe Krishna, even if the children didn't want to think about it, maybe Krishna would induce them. But if you yourself don't listen, Krishna's just not, he's going to say, well, you're going to get just what you gave out. As you sow, so shall you reap. So a little deity service goes a long way. Sorry to be using such tactics, trying to persuade you. But what else can I do? Sitting here looking at the audience and knowing what I know. With whomever the spiritual master is pleased, Radha and Krishna are also pleased. Yasya prasada bhagavata prasada. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one can attain the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, only by the mercy of the spiritual master is loving service to Radha and Krishna attained. Anyone have any questions or comments?
What is the most important section of spiritual life?
Here it is. That's to love and devote oneself to the seva of Sri Sri Radha Krishna. That is the most important instruction of the spiritual master. If you do this, the spiritual master's mission in life is successful. Prabhupada said if the Guru can make one pure devotee disciple, the mission is successful. And what is the symptom of someone who has love for Radha Krishna? Well, at least in our line, one of the symptoms is that they will be an ocean of mercy to others. Because you can't love Radha Krishna without service to Nityananda Chaitanya. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed this dual type of existence. He propagated the Sankirtan movement, and within he relished the pastimes of Radha Krishna. So the two are shown to go hand in hand.
Do the other gopis have manjaris, or does just
Yeah, the other gopis have mantras. But the followers of Srila Rupa Goswami, they want to be under the guidance of Rupa and Raghunath. So Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari, and Raghunath is Rati or Tulsi Manjari. And they are under the guidance of Lalita, but they're the Manjaris of Radha. So this is the line of a Rupa Nuga Vaishnava. When you say someone is a Rupa Nuga Vaishnava, this is the line. So they do have, all of the gopis have their assistants. But we want to be with under Rupa and Raghunath. Under Rupa and Rati, or Tulsi.
Krishna has pastimes in spiritual world as a baby.
Yes.
Are there other babies? And what happens to them?
Krishna is said to have the, it's not exactly what you said that Krishna has, but Krishna is eternally a youth in Vrindavan, not a baby. But Mother Yasoda experiences Krishna as her child. But the pastimes of birth that were shown here in this world are Boma Lila. They only take place in this world.
Forgiving his infancy?
Well, however she maintains her mentality, Krishna is described instead of the nectar devotion, he's eternally a youth. His eternal age is as a youth. But how he adjusts things and in the minds of his devotees is another matter. But there are special lila or pastimes of Krishna that are only seen when he comes within this world. But somehow things can be adjusted. But his eternal youth is described to be his age. I agree that he must have some sort of a childhood mood. But how it's adjusted, I will have to wait. I'll communicate it to you sometime. Yes, Krishna, you want to respond to that? Mahatma, can you give some clarification? I heard it said that just like there are different chambers in a altar that you see, and similarly different rooms in a house, so the different leelas can go on simultaneously with Krishna at different ages. And Krishna can adjust all of that. I heard that explanation. I have not read it anywhere in the scripture. But I've heard it described that way. And it is a fact that the Pushti Margis, or the followers of Bhattacharya, worship Balagopal. They worship Krishna as a child. And surely they get changed up pretty heavily. You know, if when they finally got to the spiritual world, that child they were worshiping was already grown up. They would have been cheated out of their desired object. So it must be that Krishna fulfills that desire and remains as a child. But the actual birth pastime certainly does not take place. But the childhood does. But still it is said that he's in a Kishore, his age. He and Radharani and Kishore.
Prabhupada had the painting for the cover of the original Bhagavatam showing different leelas going on there in the
Really?
center of the lotus. The Warpa Leela was there.
Where was this? And I don't think that was on the Bhagavatam cover.
Covered the original Bhagavatam.
No, are you sure about that? I don't remember that. I remember the original Bhagavatam, but maybe you're right. But I think the only thing I remember is that there was a low. It's similar to what we have in the new ones. I'm not sure about what you're saying. Maybe it's another picture you're thinking of. Because I think on the original Bhagavatam cover, the Vaikuntha Lokas were with forearm right, and then in Goloka, I thought there was only one. There was Radha Krishna Games in Goloka.
And another scene of Krishna's
Oh, a pastime scene in the
And then it
back.
looked like it was maybe Chaitanya that.
Oh,
And
maybe you're right, I remember that. Yeah, I think we could see a Bhagavatam cover, they must have pictures of it, originals. This is a copy, I mean, this is a painting of the original one. If you just look at a new Bhagavatam, you'll get the picture. It's whatever it is, it's the same, so they didn't change it, they just copied from this Bhagavatam. Another comment or question?
The associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
Yeah,
they are also,
yeah, they're also there in the spiritual world.
they also have an identity in Goloka Gita.
Oh, yes. In the center of Goloka, there's an island of Navadvip that is right in the middle of Goloka. It's at the heart of Goloka. And Bhaktivedanta has explained that those who are devotees of Lord Chaitanya and Radha Krishna can have simultaneously two forms, to be present in Lord Chaitanya's Leela and to be present in Radha Krishna's Leela at the same time.
If they desire.
If they desire. Everything is by the individual's desire. If they have that desire,
Amongst the many thousands of disciples who have joined this society and are following Prabhupada, could we say that some of them, their spiritual identity may be something else other than a manjari?
yeah. Prabhupada, when he lectures, always lectures in a very broad way. He never directs people towards one rasa. And he never insinuates that there is only one relationship that everybody has, that everybody is a devotee. He doesn't say that. You look at all the lectures, although occasionally he does. Occasionally he'll say, our only desire is to join in the rasa dance with Krishna. And he does say that. There are times when he makes that statement. There are times when he speaks as a representative of a particular, of our, he always speaks as a representative of Sampradaya, but there's times in which he speaks particularly in this mood of what the acharyas have, always emphasized, of following in the Madhurya Ras, because that is the special quality that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought is Madhurya Bhakti. And not just, he really especially emphasized Radha Krishna Lila. So sometimes Prabhupada does that, but at other times it speaks very neutrally in a sense, encouraging anyone that you must have a relationship with Krishna, either as parent or lover or friend or servant. So I think that people who join our movement have many different relationships. Some of them are worshippers of Lakshmi Narayan, some are going to be devotees of Sitaram. Some of Krishna as a cowherd boy, as a friend, some with childhood of Krishna. They will be that. Why not? Hare Krishna nourishes all of this. Chanting of Hare Krishna will nourish any one of these relationships. Okay, we'll stop here. So, thank you. I apologize that last night I did not show up at the program, but the jet lag started to attack me about 1 o'clock, and I was in a state of stunning, and devastation. Unfortunately, it was not a transcendental symptom, but it was purely the reason of my body fatigue. But I really wasn't in any condition to be happy. I actually was, it would have been impossible. I would have just been sitting there like a bump on a chair. Everybody would have been waiting for, Guru-mukha-padma-vakya. And this, there would have simply been a big silence coming out. So I thought it was better to let everybody have kirtan. Fortunately, I got to bed early and went to good rest. So it seems like the mornings are stronger until you get over your jet lag. As it gets later in the day, it's more and more difficult. Okay? Thank you very much. I wonder what Lakshmi Priya is going to do with her library of video things. You realize that she's been taping for years and years. Do you keep all of these tapes?
Yes, Guru.
See, this is probably, she's got, she's such a smart girl that she knows that one day I'm going to have the only library of all of these. Then I'm going to put a little turnstile in front of my house that has shelves and everybody will pay up.
Yeah.
And this way I'll support myself in my old age. I would live on the words of my spiritual master.
Really taken to heart.
Very good. It's very nice that you do this service. I'm very conscious of whatever I do because of your camera. It always brings out, whatever there is that's good comes out more because of the camera. Okay. We'll say goodbye here to Devananda. And then trust the Lord. Hare Krishna. Bhakti Kapaturu Vaishyaki Vasu Maha.
Gurudev ki
Thank you.